Substreamers, welcome back. Guys, times are changing. When I was 17, I couldn't wait to go to pubs and clubs and get drunk with my pals. Fortunately, I had a fake ID, so I was a little bit naughty and I went out before I should have. But Gen Z apparently don't share that same enthusiasm for the sesh. They just don't have the desire. And there's so many studies and reports and researches coming to this same conclusion that they are the most sober generation yet, which is quite incredible and actually a round of applause for them, because why not? Why not make a generational change for better health and to find connection in other ways? That's so important. That's something we really vouch for here on Substream News. Now, I can actually really understand why that generation has turned their backs on pub and club culture, and it's probably a mix of extortionate drink prices, the introduction of unlimited digital entertainment through their devices, and probably a lack of youth unemployment mixed with overpopulation. That means young people just don't have the surplus income that they're used to. But actually there is more to it. I've looked deeper and deeper into the matter, and what I've found is quite inspiring. Gen Z actually do love going out. They're not just sat at home in their rooms playing on TikTok. They love going out, they love socializing, even at night. And the point is, they just don't want to do it drunk. They really want to find human connection in a sober and genuine way. And I think that's something we should be congratulating them for. Now, I found some opinion from experts. This is Mary Charlton, a professor of epidemiology and the director of the Iowa Cancer Registry. And she says the younger generations are just a little more risk averse than we were. I think they're a little less fatalistic about things. They believe that if older generations embraced an ideal of, or an ethos of, well, I'm going to die anyway, YOLO, let's just do it, Gen Z kind of have a different approach. They have more transparency, more knowledge, more media that shows them who profits from their suffering, from getting them addicted to stuff, from different substances and things like that. They are aware of that more so than previous generations, and that might be why they've decided to turn their back on booze. Now, I can understand this. I'm not Gen Z, I'm millennial, but my favourite night of the week is board game night with my friends. Don't drink alcohol, don't really do anything particularly exciting but play board games. But I get to spend good quality time with my friends. If we go to the pub or the club, the music's loud, we're all drunk, we don't remember it, we can't really have good conversations. I mean, it's not the same, right? Now, these shifting attitudes toward drinking affect not only how Gen Zers spend their time, but how they spend their money. So there's another layer to this story. Now, I've found here from one of the reports, it kind of explains how the world has to adjust to a new generation of people who don't drink or don't drink as much. And it says here, concert venues are struggling with lower alcohol sales. Some bars have to pivot their offerings, bolstering their non-alcoholic options and crafting spaces for optimal socializing. Nice. A Gen Z non-alcoholic economy is quietly booming and creating an opening for new types of businesses. The global non- and low-alcoholic beverage business has ballooned to $13 billion. Quite impressive. It's projected to grow even more, obviously. Now, another analysis from IWSR found that non-alcoholic drink volume rose by 29% from 22 to 23. From 2022 to 2023, that's a lot of 20s. And the industry is projected to grow 7% over the next 2 years. So, look, I'm impressed. I really think keep going with it, Gen Z. Yeah, you don't need to drink to form good relationships. Absolutely not. Yeah. Let's move on. Now, my native United Kingdom is a bit of a mess, but I don't want to get into politics. I want to get into AI, yes, artificial technology. The UK is not really known as a massive hub for AI innovation, but that could be set to change. Now, Keir Starmer really wants to make the UK a place for AI innovation and is willing to bet part of his role and his reputation in making that happen. What they're saying is they want the UK to be a global AI leader by building a domestic rival to OpenAI. That's going to be tricky. Now, I'm skeptical. But partly because if this is part owned or nationalized, then it's all down to the government to run it and manage it and make sure it's a success. Based on track record, that isn't so good. Now, if you do it the other way and you privatize this growth but have government influence, there's going to be a lot of ethical considerations and privacy concerns. People might not want to use an AI that's part owned, or is accessible by governments, right? This is part of the issue. This is, why TikTok got shut down in the US, because the US believed that China was using it to spy on users. So many other apps have these same considerations, and we have to be really careful from that. Now, I do have a quote here from the Prime Minister. He says, "AI isn't something locked away behind the walls of blue chip companies. It's a force for change that will transform the lives of working people for the better. There will be teething problems, but we can't lose sight of the vast potential here." Now, here's the good news. There is some good news from this. The government is primarily seeking to expand data center capacity across the UK to boost developers of powerful AI models, which rely on high-performance computing equipment hosted in remote locations to train and run their systems. What does that mean in simple terms? Fly in my ear. That's not what it means in simple terms. What it means in simple terms is that the government is going to push for improved infrastructure that will lay the foundations for a AI industry growth. Basically, that's really what needs to happen to grow any industry, is better infrastructure. Now, the bad news. The bad news is that the government has already cancelled 1.3 billion worth of taxpayer-funded spending commitments towards two significant computing initiatives in order to prioritise other fiscal plans. What are these two big things that they've cancelled? An AI research resource and a next-generation exascale supercomputer. Now, these were pledges made under Rishi Sunak, the previous Prime Minister. I don't want to get further into politics here. We really try and stay away from politics. Couldn't really avoid it with this story. It needed reporting. The point of that is, the new government is promising to grow AI while at the same time stifling AI projects and wasting £1.3 billion. What a load of rubbish. Let's move on to the next story. Oh, guys, if you want to get the full report about what I've just been talking about in those stories, let's get serious here. Go down to the video description. We share all our links like good journalists should. While you're down there at the video description, remember to click subscribe. That's absolutely critical to help Substream News. But yes, all sources are there so you can get the full news, not just my version of it. Okay, now we're going on to the next story. Let's go. Okay, guys, I got a nice quick story for you here. A new phone charger that looks a bit like a toaster has been doing the rounds on social media. You might have seen it. It can charge a phone in like 2 seconds flat, except it's not actually charging the phone. Basically, the company is called, Swipit? Swipit. Don't know who came up with that. What you put is a special phone case on your smartphone. That smartphone case can have its internal battery replaced in 2 seconds. That will then go on to charge your phone. If it could charge your phone's battery in 2 seconds flat, it would probably explode. Realistically, it would probably explode, but it would break the world record, which is currently 4 minutes and 55 seconds. We covered that story not that long ago. Link up in the corner now, one of these corners. You go watch that about the world's fastest actual phone charger and not world's fastest changeable, rechargeable phone case, I suppose you could say. But yes, it's not yet commercially available, but the Swipit is really cool. And I wanted to share it because these concepts are coming thick and fast for improved phone batteries. And I think they're all saying the same thing, is that native phone batteries are not good enough, that the Samsungs and the Googles and the Apples of this world need to do better with the native battery life and battery performance. Otherwise, it's creating this whole secondary industry of battery-related products. Just do better first time around. But of course, these companies do not want to do that. I'm sure they have the technology and ability to do so, but Apple, Samsung, Google Obviously, they want you to replace and upgrade your handsets every couple of years. And if your battery life lasts, the performance goes well for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you won't upgrade, and therefore their sales will suffer. Therefore, they'll have to put up prices or accept lower sales and downsize, and there's so many considerations that come from that. So, yeah, it's a complex thing, but I think it's time to move on. Okay, a nice quick one here. In the US, Starbucks has a policy of open doors, and it means that anyone from the street can go in and have a seat and rest for a bit, use the toilet, hang out with their friends. It can be a social space, a place to go read. You could basically pretty much do what you want. You don't have to buy a drink or food or a snack or anything. You don't have to. That policy is coming to an end, I'm afraid. So yeah, good news over. I might have just sold you on Starbucks only to rip away its benefits. The issue is they actually now want to deter the homeless and non-paying customers, but primarily the homeless, because they believe some locations are becoming unsightly and that people don't want to use them. They think they're not such nice places to go. The company's worried about that, and they want to improve sales and experience and feedback and everything. So as well as banning the open door policy, they're also going to ban panhandling, discrimination, consuming alcohol from outside, and vaping. It says the new policy says consuming alcohol from outside, but they don't actually sell alcohol, so it's presumed it's from outside. They're also going to be making some changes just about their cafes. What Starbucks wants is people to spend more time in the cafe. The more time they spend, the more drinks and food they're going to buy, right? So they need to incentivize people to stay and enjoy their spaces as social spaces, as chill out spaces, good places to work and read and spend time. But they need them to be buying drinks. So they're basically rebalancing their scales. And one thing they're going to be doing is offering a free drink if you have their reusable mugs or glasses. And look, I don't particularly like Starbucks, but it's not about what I like. I think the coffee is pish. It's a monstrous chain with too much power. It's created a terrible coffee culture where people think a pint of weak latte is normal, and that's awful. Like, if you love coffee, you don't drink at Starbucks, let's be honest. But it is the biggest and most popular coffee chain in the world, so obviously I'm wrong. Do I think you should go and spend more time there? No, I think you should shop local. I think you should support your independently owned local cafes that go to extreme lengths to source delicious coffee beans, or that roast their own and wash their own and try and create homely, comforting experiences. Starbucks can do that at a giant corporate level, but go to your local cafes and support them. Look on Google Maps, find where they are, find one that suits your vibe. You will, and they will welcome you to work there, to hang out there, and you'll maybe even make friends and community from it. I'm not sure I can say the same about Starbucks. Anyway, spoken too much. Let's move on. And finally, we move on to a lighter note. But it's not such a lighter note at the start. It's actually quite a heavy one. I want to send my sincere condolences to anybody who lost their lives, friends, family, possessions, anything, who lost anything at all in the LA, California wildfires recently. It's been huge. It's been in the news. It's been so incredibly destructive to one of the most iconic places in the world. And I'm really sorry that happened. If that's affected you, I'm really sorry. There may be a little bit of hope, or there's a symbol of hope that's emerged, that's going viral. Is this photograph? Let me stand over here. You can put the photo up here. This is a blue camper van that was untouched by the fires. It was there in the middle of the fires, and it remained untouched. And I think that's special. And now there's a quote from the previous owner. He says, "There is magic in that van," right? He sold the van last summer. He says, It makes no sense why this happened. It should have been toasted. But here we are. It's so cool that it's become like this beacon of hope. Substreamers, I have to tell you, there's always a glimmer of hope. Whenever something bad happens, there's always a glimmer of hope. You just have to look carefully and you'll find it. Right? I want to offer you a big hug. Bring it in. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joseph, your presenter. This is Substream News. I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.